Welcome back to another episode of Hot Mess Espresso. We actually have a very, very important little VIP. We have my best friend Justin on HME today. What's up?
Hey,
I,
hey,
I know, finally. We finally get you on.
yeah, yeah.
I also love how you're wearing an HME shirt and I'm wearing an LA shirt, and it's both the same like black bleach. Like, we did not plan that.
No, no, no. Gotta represent, man.
I know, clearly. Like, I gotta represent LA. Bought it off Amazon, but I gotta represent LA.
That's right. That's right. It's not an underclassman shirt, but that's okay.
I
I
know. I
gotta,
know.
I've got to get this style now, though. You have inspired me to get this kind of style of shirt from here on out.
Honestly, though, like, I wanted all of my merch to be like shit you could looks like you got it at a metal show. Like, I always love that like bleach look, so I was like, that's
Yep,
what we're doing.
yep. I've always gravitated towards it from other bands' merch. I had a Day to Remember one for the longest time, but it's gone.
We'll probably dive into a day to remember later on,
Yeah.
most
Oh,
likely.
of course, of course.
Um, so I guess like the stupid first question, like, has music always been like what you wanted to do, or
Yeah,
yeah, I figured.
yeah.
I figured nobody woke up at like 15 and went, you know what, I want to do music.
Yeah, yeah. It still took forever to think that to like to figure out the pieces, but to say like I can do it, you know what I mean? But otherwise, yes, it's what I think I always wanted to do, especially since I started like
Right.
singing.
How did that, like, you've kind of been literally all over the country with all of this. Like, you started out back home where we were, like, Syracuse area, and now you're out in LA. Like, how was that entire, like, evolution?
The longest story I will ever tell,
It's the best story, though.
legitimately. Yeah, no, it's fun. It's a fun one. Well, in a music sense. Or in a music sense or a personal sense, like just like straight to how I got out here, or like how
Yeah,
music
well,
had a part to play in it all.
I mean, let's go with the music end because, like, we all know the personal reasons you wound up out in LA, and it had nothing to do with professional reasons, but
Yeah, no, that's the interesting thing about it all is that yeah, none of it like it just I don't know, formed
hmm
itself from the midst of nowhere. It just the music
honestly,
end
though.
of it feels like it followed all of the personal things,
hmm
which is a good thing for me because big leaps are scary for anybody, I would say, but
Absolutely.
big leaps lead to a lot of different things. For me specifically, the leap from New York to LA with knowing one whole person in LA was it kind of left me with not really much of anything, which was very, very helpful to my creative process because or to just like, internalizing, who I am and what I want to do and what I want to be, who I want to be. Because, when you're left with nothing, you connect with who you are at the base of it all at the end of the day a lot more than when you have stuff day by day going on and you're busy and you're just trying to be the person that you think is best. Whereas when you're just working with the basics, you work in a different way and you connect to yourself in a different way.
Right.
So
No, that makes total sense. How did you even figure out like open mic night was a thing? Like back at Funk.
back at funk, man,
Yeah, we're
what
bringing it
was
real
what
back.
was what was the introduction? It was
Because I was just thinking that when we were like all when we were just like chatting, I was like, you know, I actually don't even know how the hell we found out open mic night was a thing. Like, I know I was going, but I didn't know how you found out about it.
Anna and I found out because so in high school, we were doing our school's Liverpool coffee house nights, which
Mm-hmm.
was, I think it was like every Friday or something like that. Every Thursday, every Friday or something like that. They put it on a lot. It was a weekly thing, which is crazy for high school to put that on because they had to be open late and it was at night,
Mm-hmm.
after the sun was down and everything. And, so cool of a school to do something like that. But after we graduated, of course, or I guess leading up to graduation, we knew we were going to need something else to go into, or we were
Mm-hmm.
like, what do we do after this? As every high
Right.
schooler asks themselves. So we were asking ourselves, what's next after this? So we started, and it's so funny because I watched, or I know your episode with Xavier. Xavier, I think you guys had mentioned it was kind of like this like speakeasy thing, like you get in
Yeah.
by knowing somebody there. We came in the exact opposite. We had just heard
Mhm.
on Facebook or something that Spunk and Waffles does an open mic, and then it was closed. And I think it must have been the only regular open mic night that I think we had seen in our area, because, it's so difficult to find anything kind of like that ever,
Mhm.
especially in, little old Syracuse. Uh,
It's about the only thing Syracuse has ever had going for itself, like the basketball team occasionally and open mic nights.
right, right. Yeah. So we just went for it. And I very clearly remember the first night we ever went. And yeah, because we were so confused on the sign up and how that worked. And I remember us feeling so awkward about it because we are two of the most awkward people ever.
Right.
So, the two of us going in it was so funny. Just because, as with everything, you're just like, what are they gonna think? These two, you know, at the time I was, slim and slinky, but these two slinky guys coming in,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
two were both like skinny little shits.
hmm Scrawny, scrawny. But yeah, we were welcomed so quickly. It was awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I love that. And like obviously, like that's how you and I bonded was open mic nights and that was like a weekly thing. And I think what Xavier and I were talking about is like that community was so like tight knit that if you did bring someone, it was almost like introducing to your parents, like, the people that you would be like, oh, hey, I'm bringing like this person with us, and we'd all be like, one, are they fitting in the Monte Carlo? And two, who are they?
It's a rite of passage,
It
man.
really is.
It's a
Oh
rite
my
of
god.
passage into a friendship, or yeah, what have you. And it's also big for it was big for me and Dan to
Hmm.
bring somebody, because it's like singing, how like everybody's scared to sing in front of their parents, you know what I mean? They'll sing in front
Hmm.
of people they don't know all day long.
Hmm.
But man, when I sing in front of, somebody I know or family or something, it's just like, I don't know what it is, man. But, it's like those are the people that you think you would be the least scared, because, they're the people that accept you for who you are. But it's like, nope,
Hmm.
nope, absolutely not. Like, these people are all of a sudden going to hate me for hearing my voice, it's so stupid, but
I mean, like
it's just one
psychologically,
of
it
those
makes
things.
sense. Yeah, like it makes sense only because like I think when you're doing things in front of people that you value their feedback, you value their opinion versus like a bunch of strangers. It's like I don't give a flying whatever if you thought I was off tonight. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
So because
Yeah, it's true.
when I did high school like theater and stuff, I could front and center. Like, I was totally fine if it was a whole bunch of people that I didn't know. But God forbid I accidentally made eye contact with like my grandfather. It was over. I was like, shit. Like, I
hmm
couldn't. I was just like, what are the lines again? And I mean, it's kind of crazy to like kind of do a little sidebar, but like, can we just like talk about how these are not the brains that we, memorize like chords and like 1,000 lines in a week, like for theater and stuff. And now all of a sudden it's like, if you or I are doing like a speech or like a TikTok or like something like that, we're both like, words. They come together. I don't know how. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this cannot be the same brains that we like, you learned freaking Dan's guitar part in, 45 minutes, like because he wasn't going to come to open mic night and you had to learn his part really quick. Like, these are not the same brains we're working with. I swear to God.
No, no, no. I definitely think there must be like a left rear quadrant or something, or like it
Yeah.
can't just be split down the middle. There's no way.
No, no way. But what was it kind of like mentally jumping from everything that you had known in Syracuse and like kind of like your little comfort bubble to meeting your wife and what, like 2, 3 months after you guys like officially met in person, I'm getting a phone call that you're moving to LA. Like what was that like to literally go from everything you knew to only knowing your girlfriend at the time and just completely starting over in a brand new city? Like what was that like?
Craziest experience of my life. Craziest.
Mhm.
Just very, very scary, but at the same time, so liberating,
Mhm.
because I think of everything that I had, obviously, with between the Air Force, yeah, friends, volunteer firefighting, yeah, just family still too.
Hmm.
Everything that was there, yeah, it's just everything I had, good and bad. You know what I mean? It helps that I have some of the most supportive family and friends. That's really hard to find, I would say. Or maybe not hard to
Absolutely.
find. Plenty of people experience or have family friends that would be like, no, no, you shouldn't, you definitely shouldn't do that. Just cultural, whatever family, cultural values that would be, that would kind of be against something like moving to LA to pursue music, which is, it's a crazy concept in
Yeah.
general. But yeah, but then, it's everything that I left that was kind of holding me back from things that I wanted to do, who I am, honestly,
Yeah.
which was, severely pushed down, and I kept a lot back just based on the fact that that wasn't really how you did it out there. And then, again, like, family values and stuff like that, a lot told me that something like that wasn't supposed to happen. You're supposed to get a solid job, retire from it, and, die off
Hmm.
of retirement, basically. So, I mean, it's just like the basic cycle.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something like moving to, dropping everything and going somewhere you've never been, people you don't know, or, chasing a career that's not, solid or secure is blasphemy. You know what I mean? It's stupid and it'll bring dishonor to your whole family. So it was a lot to deal with, a lot to get past, and just, yeah, like a super scary jump because I had to literally convince myself that, everything maybe I've learned is, what a lot of people may believe, but it doesn't have to be what I believe,
Right.
and that's okay.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. And like, obviously, I fully supported you, like moving out
Of
there
course.
for, your music
Yeah.
reasons. My thing was, I will never forget that phone call. You were calling me, and I knew. I've always had this weird sixth sense, but I think I picked up and I was like, don't tell me, please don't tell me you're about to tell me that you're moving to LA with a girl that you've known for like 3 months. And you were just like, I can't lie to you. And I'm just like, well, at least it's not the other one.
Man.
I liked this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. That is a huge thing, man. The
Hmm.
thinking of the difference too. Obviously everybody has good and bad relationships, but yeah, man, mine total polar opposites, man. It's
Yeah,
like if I didn't have Rose, there'd be no way I could
literally.
do any of this.
I tell you both that all the time. I'm like, you are literally the fire under his ass that he needed.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she's
Yep,
a freaking go getter
absolutely.
and a half.
She is. She's a firecracker,
I love it.
So, oh, I love it too, of course. It's again, yeah, it just makes me a better person. 'Cause that's, yeah, sometimes what I need. I mean, again, yeah, that's what I needed to get out of there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like I needed, something to, light whatever was going on, whatever needed to be lit inside of, my mind, my brain, something to just tell me that I can go try to do something that I really want to
Right.
do, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's like I had the confidence in myself, the wherewithal to, say it'll be okay, even if it
Hmm.
doesn't work out, it'll be okay. There's, luckily, those are the things I'm grateful for with my parents, that,
Hmm.
I have that groundwork, of those lessons that, I can use in case something goes wrong. But also, like, street smarts, I think, plays a lot in it too, because Laura only knows
Yeah.
I am not very book smart at all. And I rely only on experiences, and that's basically it. So,
We go with the vibes.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. If the vibes are right, then I'm good.
Right. So like
So,
obviously with like jumping out there and stuff like that, you got to do a million things to kind of like keep yourself afloat. And you've kind of got your hands in a lot of different like music related things. Like it's not just the underclassmen. You write, you work with the record label that you guys are with, like on different projects. What was the process kind of like when you started writing for like other people and other projects? Like was that just kind of something you always wanted to do, or something that you found that you are A, really good at, because you are, and B, like how does that all networking happen, especially because you landed in LA knowing fuck all.
Yeah. It is question. It's oh man. A lot of it a lot of it is just what I feel that I'm most drawn to.
Mhm.
So confidence is such a big thing with me because it's what's very hard for me to be confident. I know that I can do things to the best of my ability. I know that I will do them to the best of my ability, but there's always a part of me still that, there's things that linger from my childhood and stuff, I think, or not even just my childhood, but Air Force and everything that again is just like, it's always something in the back that's like, it may not be good enough.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to step over that. That is, you know, what I think ghostwriting does a lot for. And yeah, I like writing for other people because, I'm not a genre snob. I
Mhm.
love so many different genres
You really
for
do.
so many different reasons. Yeah, I literally have the most wild playlists that you'll ever see.
Mhm.
I literally just I love it all. I love the different feelings that it can invoke. Whether, and if you're open-minded enough and you don't mind, you don't care too much about having to listen to something that's country or rock or something like that. If you can set all that aside, you can you can feel any different way, a million different ways with
Yep.
all different kinds of music. So I'm obsessed with that fact and like just that certain tones, certain frequencies, certain notes, certain chords, mixtures of notes and everything can do so many different things. So, writing for other people allows me to do that
Mhm.
and it's just a little bit something different and I get to step out of my own head for a little bit because obviously with the underclassmen stuff I'm trying to be as myself pouring out as possible because that's literally what I'm using the underclassmen for.
Mhm.
And again, regardless of the genre that we do, but again, I love so many different genres. So whereas I actually do thoroughly enjoy writing pop, it is really hard to try to write unique things because obviously a lot of pop sounds so similar.
Yep.
But I do love writing it for that reason. It is challenging, and I know I could super easily do something like a metalcore thing or hardcore thing, and probably thrive all the same and love what I'm doing. But with pop, yeah, it's just I like that little bit of challenge and yeah, I think it's nice. It's honestly it's versatile enough to where you can write super sad things or you can write super happy things and it's like nobody will blink an eye at whatever you decide to do. Whereas like, some other genres, it's kind of, it's more secured into like what they're supposed to be,
Mhm.
like, metal and stuff. There's a bit more of an expectation that you're gonna feel something inside that you don't usually talk about, or with
Mhm.
country, you're talking about, you know, it's almost like metal, you're talking about it being an introvert, and with like something like country, you're talking about being an extrovert, or it's more, country is more about like hard, about how you work, your ethics, your values and
Mhm.
morals and stuff. And it's like, so each of these genres have like different things, they're supposed to be about. And I enjoy that about pop, but yeah, connecting it back to, your question there. Yeah, I just love all these different avenues of things that are available to me out here. And it's just like, as long as you go looking for it, you'll usually find something, whether it's somebody that's going through, something similar, obviously somebody that works in the same area that you're looking to go to. It's just I like it. It's allowed me, it's prompted me, it's like forced me to be myself more because, working with other people, it forces you to do that, especially in this area where, you pour a lot of yourself into everything that you do. So like writing with other people, I love doing because I get to experience what their experiences are, a little bit because
Yeah.
you see a lot in people when they go to, again, pour themselves into it all. You just learn things about people, and it's really cool. It's very fascinating, and it's almost like storytelling, or hearing a story from, like somebody who's really bad at telling stories, but still a really good story nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
So
And I feel like just from what I've seen, like with your like experience with all of it, it's like you don't have to put yourself in like this itty bitty box, with just the underclassmen. Like this gives you, like you were saying, that creative outlet to literally check off like all of your different creative facets. So you don't feel like you're holding yourself back or throwing up roadblocks for the sake of like your band and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, and it's cool because it's kind of again introspective a little bit on the like learning coming like again the move from New York to LA. It's like it's like it's not putting myself in a box. That's the whole thing. It's like the
Yeah.
my move. It's like it's all about just not holding yourself to any sort of standard other than your own and where you want to be.
What's
Like I get to do where I want to do. It's
right.
awesome. It's a great feeling.
Exactly. Who's harder to write for? Yourself or other people? That's what I figured the answer
Yeah.
was, but
Yeah. They're not too far off though, because there's a bit of an expectation, obviously, that, or at least that I set for myself, where I want
Mhm.
to make sure that whoever I'm writing with, they get to say again what they want to say. And that's kind of like really important to me. So, but it's less because it's more of a fun project where I'm just almost like trying to be emotional support for them as they again, navigate maybe something really hard that they're trying to write about, which I've experienced, at this point. Just trying to, get them to say what they want to say and do it correctly. But man, yeah, writing for myself, it's so different because, now I'm dealing with something that I want to say and I want to make sure it's said right and then also be a song that people would want to listen to. So
right.
it's that really strange marriage that I think is either really hard to do depending on the song or really easy to do. I think that depends too. Like sometimes it can be harder, sometimes it can be super easy.
Tracks. That freaking
Yeah.
tracks. But what were like I kind of know the answer to this, but for funsies,
hmm
what were some of your biggest like musical influences, especially like in your early 20s and stuff like that, when like you really started seeing this as like a career? And who are some of your biggest influences now? Are they the same? Are they like vastly different? Are they a little different?
Find I find now I'll start now and I'll work backwards. I find
That
that
that works.
now my influences are more based on small experiences than they are like as a whole, like one artist is like super good, because there are a lot, honestly, there's so many good ones out there
I know.
right now, especially just that it gets easier for people to find and promote and push and support artists that have really really good intentions, as opposed to back then when it was labels that were pushing things. So now there's like so many cool influences, a lot that are on the wall behind me, just because I love still love
Yeah.
physical music. But like right now, yeah, it's in terms of like pop, it's Jacob Collier, who does really wacky things but is really neat. Dodie, who's on the wall as well. JoJo, as you know, people like
Yeah,
Tori
JoJo's
Kelly.
like your girl through and through.
Yeah, Tori Kelly in the pop realm. Yeah, but then like, these ones that are navigating the really huge things, I really still, think I love Ariana Grande just because I love what she does sonically. And
Mhm.
obviously her voice is crazy, but like Charlie Puth as well. People that are still, I think, are able to, just because the industry pressure is so, it's unfortunately, it's like at the fence right now. It's still at a point where they are super big and they still really control so much of the big money going around and stuff like that, where, somebody who wants to make a living doing it can actually make a living doing it. So those are like modern-ish influences, but yeah, man, I obviously, yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
it was metalcore, hardcore. It was metal that kind of pushed me into an area where I could start, looking within, and really figuring out who I am, because that's, again, so many of those people. Yeah, I think that's probably a similar experience for everybody. Is being able to deal with the things that are, maybe a little bit darker than other things that you would usually discuss with people like family or friends. And it's, of course, good for those people that grew up in houses that maybe communication wasn't like super strong and you had to deal with a lot yourself and everything. So, it's just because that community is there for you too. But
Mm-hmm.
I always love metalcore because it's like those people, those artists are literally just part of the community. They are like the same people. It's not like a community that idolizes one figure like pop, or like, super pop music, like Ariana Grande is our audience, or, somebody like that, Billie Eilish, where they're an idol. Metalcore, so much more intimate. It's literally like the band is just part of the community and the community is part
Yeah.
of the band. And I love that about metalcore. Yep. Day to Remember, Bring Me the Horizon,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that was like the biggest shock for like me because
I get a
obviously,
thumbs down apparently.
God damn it. I think that was like the biggest shock for me is when you guys went from, and we'll kind of go into that because spoiler alert, guys, the underclassmen's coming on the pod. We'll talk about it a little more in depth on like that episode, but when you guys went from like your former duo name to now the underclassmen, I had seen you guys cover so much like acoustic Bring Me the Horizon, acoustic A Day to Remember. Like the cover that me and Dan did was We're the In Crowd. So it was like all these like emo, like scene, pop punk, metal bands. And then you guys released Former Life. And I was like we're making a genre jump here. And obviously it has very much worked out for you guys, but it was like a little bit of like a shock where I just like, I think a lot of people just assumed you guys were going to go with metalcore because those were your big influences. And then you guys were like, nah, we're going like left, like very left. And I'm pointing right,
Yeah.
left.
My screen you're playing right, which is the funny
It's fine.
thing. Yeah, yeah, dude. I know. I didn't expect it either. I didn't expect it either.
Yeah. How was that feedback from people like knowing what you guys like were doing with open mic? And then, cause nobody really likes change. Everyone's like a creature of habit. So when you guys
Hmm.
made that jump, did you get a lot of people that are like, yeah, it's great, but like, what are you doing?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely a lot of like, wow, that's not what I expected you to do.
It worked.
You
It
know,
absolutely worked.
it did work, and I'm gonna keep bringing it back to the same theme, but it's again, it's like it's about this like thing about breaking out of what people expect of you. You know what I mean?
Well, you see it
So.
time and time again. Like, just for an example, like Rory from Dayseeker, like he's got Dayseeker and then he's got Hurtwave, and Hurtwave is nothing like, well, I guess it's a little more like the latest album from Dayseeker, which I don't care what anybody says, that album fucking slapped. But I'm very much looking forward to their new music. But the same thing with Landon Tours. Like his solo stuff is a little more like poppy and slowed down versus what the Plot in You does.
Hmm.
And it's actually kind of nice to see that these guys are being like more Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin. He goes from Breaking Benjamin and then he drops his stuff and it's more pop. And I'm just like, it's nice to
Hmm.
see people kind of doing these genre jumps because music is music. It just happens to be like what, and I mean, granted, I'm saying that like we should be accepting of all music genres, and I'm saying that as somebody that can't stand bro country. Like, I can't do it. I just can't. I like my 90s country. I like my early 2000s. From like 2005 to like 2000, well, basically until Hardy went on the map, I was like, absolutely not. Like, I couldn't do it.
Hmm.
Like, beers, trucks, girls. I was like, I can't. Like, I will fail this drinking game 30 seconds in. But like, yeah. And then, like Hardy. Hardy goes from very country to has fucking Jeremy
Jeremy McKinnon
song. And I was like, what?
throwing down harsh vocals. Yeah.
Dude, I wish I could go
No,
back
it's
and listen to that
awesome.
song again for the first time.
For the
I
first
I
time,
really
yeah.
could. I really wish that I could just go back and be like,
Or honestly, that record, you know what I mean? That
it
was,
was so good.
yeah. And like likewise, I was kind of slogging a little bit through the country half of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the respect I had for that switch, with like the switch not even happening from song to song, but in the middle of the song, Yeah,
No.
man. Yeah, I also wish I could go back and listen to that for the first time. Damn.
But it's just nice to see more and more artists not sticking to the box that they were originally in.
hmm those are the ones that I gravitate towards in terms of like following and like again, influencing and stuff like that is, Sahaj Tickerton from a band, I guess you would kind of call him a dad rock band from like early 2000s called Raw, and then Shaylee Berger who was the original vocalist for Mice and Men.
Mm-hmm.
I love following him too because both of those guys, they're way more, they're so open-minded when it comes to music, and I'm with that all the way, man. It just makes me think more and more that it's kind of genreless a little bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And Post Malone too. I fucking love Post Malone
Posty, man. Another technical
because
Syracuse native. Technical.
yeah, yeah, just how he breaks it all down,
Ugh.
breaks like any barriers, all the
Mm-hmm.
boundaries,
I
no
love it.
genre. Me too. It's like it's crazy for me to think back to a time where he was very specifically or very exclusively a rapper.
Yeah,
And
like
it's like
his
nobody knew that this dude loved,
yeah.
metal music and, hardcore music all the way to like, yeah, pop country and stuff and doing all the country stuff. It's
And
rad, man. Cause
he
yeah,
manages to do really well in each one. And I'm like, how? But that's
yeah.
just his versatility as an artist. And
hmm
like, that's like the one thing that kind of drives me a little nuts about the metal community is it like breaks it, like the ADHD in me loves the like sub genres, but there are too many of them. Like
Right.
I can't, when someone's like, "Oh, like who's your favorite metalcore band?" And I'm like, "Eh." Like I don't know what's technically metalcore. And as a female like metalhead, it's actually really difficult for me to like throw a band out there because I can be like, "Oh, I love, the Plot in You. I love Fit for a King. I
Well,
love,
yeah.
and they're like, "That's like deathcore. That's not metalcore." Like when fucking crabcore was a thing and all it was they just did really nice squats and skinny jeans that were way too tight for them, and that was crabcore. And I'm like, you got to be joking me.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously the men are so harsh on men, but oh my God, yeah, they are so much worse with women. Oh my God, it's like all of a sudden they're like this person I really need to convince
Yeah.
otherwise.
It's like I've said it like a million times, but like I'll wear like a shirt. And I remember when I was dating my ex from like a few years back, and he loved Black Dahlia Murder. And I wore a Black Dahlia Murder shirt. And he literally looked at me when I was like going to walk out of the house, and he's like, "You sure you want to do that?" And I'm like, "I'll be fine." Sure enough, I fucking got asked a million times, like, "What's your favorite album?" And I'm like, I don't know necessarily the albums or the song titles. I just know I like
hmm
that one when it pops up on the shuffle. Like, don't ask me to like do specific whatevers. I hear the first couple notes and I'm like, yes, that's the one that I like. I'm allowed to like bands without knowing the blood type of the original guitarist of Carnifex. Like, I just am.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
It's
man,
freaking
I know.
hard.
That's why I can't even really be much on social media. I can't bother myself to get on social media much because of all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's crazy, like why I don't understand it now. And that's why like, it's hard to be a part of those communities because I can't stand it. I can't do it. It's like I
Hmm.
can't sit there and have a conversation where I agree with you on anything. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. But that's like what's been kind of nice about these bands doing, genre jumps or doing something that's really out of character for them. I know the fans don't necessarily like it because obviously, like when Bring Me the Horizon dropped, oh, what the fuck was that album called? It was 3 albums back. It was like in 2018 or something.
The one after that's the spirit. Uh,
Yeah. And it was like super like poppy.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
it was
poppy for Bring Me the
Amo.
Horizon. Yeah, Amo. I wanted to say
Yeah.
that. And then I was like, if I'm wrong, like this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
But that one, like, everyone was like, "Oh my god, they went pop, they went pop." Have you listened to the freaking lyrics? They're deep as hell.
hmm
And like everyone was so hung up on them being pop, and it's like, who
Yeah.
do we really care? The music's still good. The lyrics are like slap
hmm
you in the face, you know?
Yeah. And they blasted through it all. That's like my favorite part. They
Yeah.
were like, I don't fucking care. And they're bigger than they've ever been. You know what I mean?
Oh, and they're
and like and their fans are more, they're more widely based, and
mhm,
there's like the support is more solid than it's ever been.
absolutely.
And I love that. And they've been on, the what was it, the British Music Awards where they performed with Ed Sheeran.
That was
That was
that,
like the first, it was mind blowing.
and then he's, like, on a table, like, losing his mind. I was like, "This is what we need."
Oh yeah, 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 that one too. Yeah. Yeah. That one with Ed Sheeran blew my brain, and I think it was the start of a lot of, metalcore breaking into like kind of the main scene. So now we're seeing.
Now they have appearances on Jimmy Kimmel, and they're, like, nominated. They've always kind of been nominated at the Grammys, but it's always been, like, really hush hush, like, this was given, like, off the record, and
Hmm.
then but we still have such a long way to go with, like, metal. Case in point, Courtney LaPlante getting mistaken for Poppy. Like, I understand that they're both, like, gorgeous women that dark hair, they're absolutely stunning, but, like, are we kidding me? Like, as a journalist, maybe double check, like, do a quick Google search, like, real quick before you, like.
Yeah, they have such a problem with that because apparently or supposedly they messed up like Charlie XCX and another pop artist a couple like a year or two ago or something like that. And it was kind of a similar situation where I think it was Charlie XCX who got mistaken for somebody else, and she just like brushed it off. She was like, "Yep, no, it's awesome. It's great to be
No,
here."
Courtney was a
Courtney was
freaking
awesome though.
queen
Oh
with
man,
that one. She's like, "Yes, I'm so
she
excited to
took
be
that
here
one.
with Knocked Loose." Like, we're nominated with so many, like, Courtney from Spirit Bo I was dying. I was
Yeah.
straight up, like, at a girl. I was
Hmm.
so. But, like, yeah, I'm loving that, like, Knocked Loose being on Jimmy Kimmel honestly was the highlight of
Hmm.
a very long few months. That was just, like, everyone's like, that was, like, and then Brian's just like, "Let's just do the pig squeal. It's not even in the freaking, like, it's not even in the song, but let's just do it." And I was, like,
Gotta
sitting
give it
here
to him while
like,
we're here.
"Yes, we're doing it." Was great. It was absolutely
Yeah.
phenomenal. And
Yeah.
I know it's not for everybody, but neither is country, so I don't know why we're giving, like, metal such a hard time.
Yeah, I mean that's the case with a lot of stuff this,
True.
nowadays. It's just like you don't like something, it's so easy to go find something else, and it's like
Mhm.
ridiculous how much time people take to comment on or whatever. Just like get hung up on it. Like don't get hung up on it, man. Just go somewhere else. There's somewhere else for you to be. If you're complaining there's not enough, people in the genre, I guarantee you there are. Just go look for them.
Mhm. Or
But
maybe not make
you don't
so
like
many
metal?
genres that
Go
it only
listen to
fits, like, 2 bands.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, maybe
start
stop
there.
making new subgenres. We should probably stop there. Let's just stop with all the unnecessary extra labeling.
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. It's like it's all the labeling and the underclassmen. I want to do stuff. I want to eventually lead the underclassmen into that direction, that realm. And we'll talk about it more obviously when
Oh,
for
yeah.
the underclassmen one. But it's like. Dan and I we're so sick of the genre.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not sick of genres. They'll always be there. But I'm so sick of the hard cut, things where it's like the underclassmen, I want to do some really cool stuff with them. So, or with it because we can, honestly.
No,
And
I
it's becoming more of a thing. And I'm like, I would love to be a part of that
yeah.
movement.
Even just, like, I remember listening to the Seaway album that you had me listen to, and I was like, "This
Yeah.
sounds very much like underclassmen sound." Like, I was like, it's just that made sense, like, a little less. It was still poppy, but it was a little more like, I guess, pop punk than
Yeah.
anything. It
Yeah.
was but I was like, "Oh, this is kinda your guys' sound." Like, it took me a second, actually. But yeah,
Hmm.
so you guys have been well, you've been out there for 8 years? 8 years?
Yeah.
8.5?
It'll be 9 years this October. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Hmm. Yeah. October 2016, I moved here.
Oh my god. No, that makes sense because I had moved out to, like, Western New York, and then yeah. No, that makes sense.
Hmm.
So, that's holy shit. Time flies when,
I know.
you're having one existential crisis after another.
Yeah.
How has, like, the mentality and just, like, the drive, how have you been able to keep that up, especially when you've been doing years and years and years of this, and, like, you were, working for years on former life, and then, the pandemic happened, and obviously that slowed everything down. And, how do you guys keep your momentum? Well, I guess how do you keep your momentum up, and like, how do you not just go, you know what, fuck this? Like, when you're just hitting one roadblock after another, or you're realizing how long the process takes to even get like something notable out of it.
I think it has a lot to do with the people that I've surrounded myself with, or that I try to surround myself with,
Hmm.
because it is very easy to hit those down or those low points where, yeah, I've thought plenty of times, I'm like, how long is this gonna
Which
take?
take?
Like, holy smokes, yeah, like former life took so long, to get to where it is. And then now I'm like, it's been 5 or almost 6 years now since former life came out, which is bonkers to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm like, yeah, like how do we continue doing this, and yeah, the pandemic and now these fires. And yeah, it's nice with who I surround myself with, because you can always be reminded that there's somebody else going through stuff too,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that always keeps me going, is that we have people around us that, for me specifically, I have a responsibility to, keep doing this stuff so that they can also keep doing this stuff. It's finding that thing, in you that keeps you going, man. It's like, yeah, you keep getting knocked down, you keep getting knocked down, you keep getting knocked down. And I'm like, I'm not in a position to like give advice and stuff. And like, I'm truly not, because I keep learning as I go along too. So I can only speak to how I do it. But yeah, it's just remembering, how much I have this love, for this music and where it's gotten me up to this point. And yeah, I owe it to myself, and I owe it to my younger self, who, you know, was like, I want to do this no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
and, or my younger self that wishes I could, you know, have this opportunity that I do now. And yeah, I owe it to that kid, to do it, to at least give it my all. It's like, if it's something that's happened to me, if I wasn't giving it my all, or, giving it my all means understanding that it's something that's happened to me. It's not something that I can, it's something I need to react to. And that's so important, is just
Right.
how you react to it all,
No,
you
1,000%.
know? So I just try to, always keep it step by step, and just figure out the problem that's in front of me. And it's like the whole picture will eventually magically appear.
Yeah, no, especially like in the arts, and like, I guess I would consider podcasting a form of journalism, but like in the arts and journalism, like,
Hmm.
you really have to do what you love, because you'll be doing it completely thanklessly and spending way more than you bring in for a very long time. Like these overnight successes, these like artists that explode out, you kind of do a deep dive, and they've been living in XYZ for like 10 years and had 4 albums that nobody even knew about.
Hmm.
It's not, you're not going to like show up and get signed in a week. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's the big
There's an element
reality
of,
check.
yeah, yeah. There's an element of like watching it happen to others around you, too.
Hmm.
Like, it's like there's got to be, the way that it must work for those that like made it happen, that like don't have money or connections, or like, that kind of thing, the industry plants, if you will. At least when it comes to music. Well, no, I guess when it comes to any music or art form, or what have you, it's like, what do you do to differentiate yourself from everybody else that's trying? It's probably that you keep going and you keep doing it,
It's a
and you
marathon.
don't stop, and you continue to educate, to learn, from experienced people or experiences yourself, or that you have yourself. And it's like, as if you keep learning and keep going, it's like that must be what differentiates, what differentiates you. But also, I mean, there's this element of luck too that everybody, I think, needs to understand. They
Yeah.
kind of have to stumble upon, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
So
kind of the 80-20 rule, like 80% of your work and 20% of just being in the right place at the right time.
timing,
The
yeah,
timing is
everything.
everything.
Whether
I mean,
it's, yeah, the song you release, like being released at the right time,
mhm.
for certain people to, certain group of people to hear it, or just any amount of little things. But yeah, I think luck is such a huge part.
Yeah. I mean, it literally is like luck and then timing.
Yeah.
Case in
Yeah.
point.
80/20 is perfect. That's a perfect way to put it. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, the timing, case in point, you know, in the doorway of dance room when I was in LA. And I don't know why I asked you about mics, but I did. And then you're just like, you finally gonna do that podcast? And I'm like, I am now. Like, it was just like the craziest time because we had not talked about it at all that
Hmm.
entire week. And then just, I don't know, I was just like, hey, I need your rec on mics. And, here we are almost 2 years later, me yapping
Yeah.
away on a mic and you just, like we always have been for each other, you know,
No, I'm so here for this too. I mean, this is,
I
yeah,
know.
it's a great platform.
I love how your
You
wife
got
was
a great
on.
thing going on.
I love how your wife immediately jumped on coming on and it took you like 2 years and a lot of coaxing. Like, it's fine. We can definitely tell who the extrovert in the marriage is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, it's always, yeah, always kind of the thing. It's
Just one
timing,
of those
right?
things.
It's like, as I
I know.
said, it's gotta, I wanted it to feel like the right time, and
No, the timing was perfect.
yeah, I'd say
So was the coordinating outfits that we again did not plan. I literally popped up on
thoroughly.
the screen and I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, there you go. Another element of luck. We
Right?
got timing and luck in here, man. Yeah.
We're just twinsies over here. But yeah, I guess to wrap, like, what's next for you personally with music and writing? And I guess it's like a two-part question, and you've kind of answered it. But people that are trying to break into the industry, what's like 2 points of advice for them?
Yeah, for advice, it would be, yeah,
I know that's a hard one because we're just all like,
it
I don't know,
is.
I'm just winging it over here.
It really is. And again, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm at a point where it's like even relevant for me to give advice yet, because it's going to be pretty simple, pretty similar, I think, to a lot that you'd get, which is, yeah, be consistent. Have a consistent goal, and keep that in mind. It's like, it's okay. Obviously, to a degree, you got to look in, and take it step by step, and you got to look at the details. But people will tell you not to look at it all as a whole because it's very big and very general. But I think you
Hmm.
do have to keep this ultimate goal, this ultimate view of what you want in sight, so that you don't forget why you're doing it or something like that. So you don't hit those lows. Because if you keep it in sight, then there's always something to pull, keep pulling you in that direction. Even if you may forget what it is, it's like, I think subconsciously it'll always be there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's number one. Number two is like, dude, yeah, learn, learn. Do not think you are better than everybody else around you. Always work to be that, but, never expect that you are.
Hmm.
I just go into every situation, every new person that I meet, I look at them as um, a potential teacher, somebody that
Hmm.
can teach me something, and that I should be listening for this kind of stuff too, because listening is just as important, as being able to speak, if not more.
Hmm.
So, it's like, yeah, keep your wits about you and look for learning opportunities. I mean, opportunities in general, like, two. I did this was kind of like a third point, but all the same, like,
Hmm.
be ready for those opportunities. Look for those opportunities and try to convince yourself that they are opportunities, and that you deserve to take them.
Exactly.
If it's presenting itself to you, there's a reason for that.
Yep. I think to like kind of jump on that too, like I think the biggest thing that I've learned personally that I tell anybody that's like, because people are coming to me for advice on podcasting, and I'm like, dude, I can't even make sure that my mic is clicked on for half of my episodes. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
But I think like the biggest piece of advice, and I think you would agree, is surround yourself with people that are A, doing better than you are, and
Hmm.
B, are where you want to be in 5 years. Because then you can literally see that goal of like, okay, that's what I want to be doing in 5 years. So like they did it. Let me work towards that. Let me kind of like glean from them how they did it. And obviously, like, you're going to do things your way and a little differently. And, what worked for them may not work for you, and vice versa. But I really think surrounding yourself with people that are doing better or that have a bigger drive than you is what's going to help. Because if you're surrounding yourself, it's always good to have cheerleaders. It really is, like 1,000%.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
if you're surrounding yourself with people that don't really have a lot of ambition, don't have a lot of drive, and you have to be like the only one that's like motivated, it's 9 times out of 10, it's not going to end well. You need to surround yourself with people that are like, you've been doom scrolling for 2 hours, get up off your ass and like make that real, or do this or do that, or send that fucking email out. You've been talking about it for 3 weeks. Those are the people you need to surround yourself with, because we can't as a whole always be our own motivating factor. We just can't. I know I can't, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
Absolutely.
ADHD could never.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It's like having friends that are older than you, I think is pretty beneficial too at times
Yeah.
because of the kind of the same thing, you know what I mean? It helps you grow up a little bit and then, then you got those friends that you can bring up there with you.
Yeah. It's good to have a good
Yeah,
mix. You just, 80/20 rule again. 80%
it
of people
is.
doing better than you, 20% of people like either on par or that just don't have the same career aspirations, because variety is the spice of life.
It is. It is. Yeah, for sure. No,
The
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, because yeah, you gotta be you gotta be able to yeah, just have that outside influence as well as
Mhm.
inside. Yeah, I think that yeah, that's definitely a good point. 80/20, I guess as well.
Yeah.
80% can be you, and then the 20% has to be, what's around you. Because yeah, it is just important. I agree.
No. And so I had asked it before, but then I realized I asked two questions and oops.
It's
But
okay.
what is next for you personally?
I'm
I
gonna
know.
keep learning. That's the big one. Yeah, no, I mean actually, or literally, I plan on yeah writing with more people. I'm still trying to branch out to see more people. I've done a bit of good ghostwriting. I think that's given me a pretty solid footing in the writing community, especially
Mhm.
here. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep expanding. Again, we'll explain more with the underclassmen, but I've got
Oh yeah.
plenty,
I know, it was
plenty
so hard to
on the
like
on the books for that.
it was so hard to like keep the underclassmen like completely out
Keep
of
the
this
line.
episode, because there were so many things and I'm like, "Oh, I can ask that for like underclassmen. That's an underclassman. That's an underclassman." I'm
Yeah,
like making mental notes cuz handy dandy notebook over here is going to be going to send the questions in for your
it's
counterpart.
impossible. Yeah, it's impossible to avoid. It's such a big part
I
of my life. I mean, yeah, I'm looking to, when I say continue to branch out, I mean writing with different people, but also, potentially, so that I can get into maybe the hardcore realm. Um, Potential, I might try to do something like that, either myself or get a new group together.
I'm
But I
here
want to
for
do
it.
a group, and yeah, yeah, just because again, it was such a huge, massive part of my life. I feel like I would
Mhm.
do another disservice to, usually I'm paying attention to my young kid just singing self that's like, I want to be
Mhm.
a singer, but now I'm focused on like my, 18, 19-year-old self, 20-year-old, where I'm like, now I owe it to him to, give this a shot too, because you might as well. It's like, again, all this stuff, you never know.
Yeah. And you guys have had several like big big opportunities with underclassmen. We'll get into that at that episode, but I'm really excited to dive into that. But yeah, dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, it was a
It's been so
blast, man.
fun.
Yeah. Hopefully we, touched on actually something, to do with
We for sure did.
anything
We for sure
important.
did. It's important. Oh my god, shut up. Yeah, Justin Cole, everyone. He is
Thanks for
four
having
leaf.
me.
Yeah, four leaf singer on like FOUR leaf singer on Instagram, TikTok.
Hmm.
I think that's
Instagram,
really
TikTok.
your main ones.
Those are my two big ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a Facebook guy, and certainly not an X guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
TikTok and Instagram, man. Yeah, for
Those are
sure.
the two big ones. But yeah, you
If
can
you want
catch
to
me
write,
there
if you want to write something, let me know. Reach out and we can write something together.
1,000%. So yeah, I will have
Wait, will
all
it
of
do it?
that. Is it gonna do it? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
let's go.
Not the thumbs up fireworks. But thank
I
you
said
so
I
much
wouldn't
again,
do it. I
dude.
know.
It's fine. You had to one grand finale. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, no, thanks for having me. Seriously,
Of
I am
course.
so incredibly proud of you and this show, man. It's so good. I freaking love you.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna cry. But yeah, Justin Cole, everyone. We will catch you on the next episode.